All right, let's dive in. Today, we're going to take a tour of the most complex, most incredible machine you will ever own, your own body. We're going to explore the key organs that keep you going every single second of every single day. Let's get our tour of this inner universe started. So here's the big question, right? How do trillions of cells and all of these different organs manage to work together so perfectly? It really seems like a miracle of organization. And to get our heads around it, we just need to look at it in the right way. So to make sense of all this complexity, let's use a little analogy. Just imagine your body is a giant company, a really, really efficient one, with all these specialized departments that have to cooperate. From the command center to the power plant, every part has a job. So first up, the head office. Every great organization needs a leader, and in your body, that leader is, without a doubt, the brain. It's the central control tower, the CEO making all the big decisions, processing information, and sending out the commands. Now, the main part of this command center is the cerebrum. Think of it sitting in its own private office, the skull, nicely cushioned by protective membranes and fluid. This is the hub for all your conscious thought, from your deepest ideas to what you're going to do next. And like any good CEO, the cerebrum knows how to delegate. It's split up into 4 specialized departments, or lobes, and each one handles a critical task. You've got the frontal lobe, which directs movement and speech. The parietal lobe processes things like touch and sensation. The temporal lobe handles hearing and memory. And way at the back, the occipital lobe is your own dedicated vision center. Of course, no CEO can do it all alone. The brain has an amazing support team. Back here, you have the cerebellum, which is the absolute master of coordination. It makes sure your movements are smooth and keeps you balanced. And then there's the brainstem. That's your ultimate autopilot, managing all the stuff you never think about, like breathing and your heartbeat. It just works. Okay, so a command center is great, but it's totally useless without intel, right? For the brain to do its job, it needs a constant stream of data from the outside world. So how does it get that information? Well, through a very sophisticated input system. And that brings us to our next department, the sensory input system. You can think of these organs as the field agents, out there gathering intelligence from your environment and sending it all straight back to headquarters. Just take your eye, for example. It's an incredible piece of precision engineering. First, light enters through the cornea, that clear outer shield. Then it gets focused by the lens. And finally, it hits the retina at the very back. The retina is kind of like a digital camera sensor, converting that light into electrical signals the brain can actually understand. The body really loves efficiency, and the ear is a fantastic example. It's a 2-in-1 device. Deep inside your ear, you have the cochlea, this little snail-shaped part that turns sound vibrations into nerve signals. But right next to it are the semicircular canals, which act like a tiny gyroscope, detecting your head movements so you can stay steady on your feet. Pretty neat. And hey, let's not forget the nose. It does way more than just smell things. It's actually a 3-stage air treatment system. First, it warms up the air you breathe. Then it filters out dust. And finally, special olfactory cells detect smells and zap that info straight to the brain. Okay, so we've got a command center and we've got an input system. But none of that can run without power. And that leads us down to the engine room of our little company, the heart and lungs. They're in charge of delivering power and oxygen to the whole system. At the very center of this engine room is the heart. And its whole design is built around the number 4. It has 4 powerful chambers that work together to create this amazing 2-sided pump that just beats tirelessly, over 100,000 times a day. Its mission sounds simple, but it's absolutely crucial. It's a 2-part job. One side of the pump sends blood over to the lungs to drop off carbon dioxide and grab fresh oxygen. Then, the other, much stronger side, pumps that freshly oxygenated blood out to every single cell in your body. And speaking of how everything fits together so perfectly, check this out. You'd probably think your lungs are symmetrical, but they're not. Your right lung actually has 3 sections, or lobes, but your left lung only has 2. And why? To make a perfect little nook for the heart to sit in. It's just a beautiful piece of design. All right, last department on our tour. Every great organization needs a place for processing resources, managing supplies, and, dealing with the waste.
In our body, that's the job of the great chemical processors. This department has some of the absolute hardest working organs in the game. The liver, it's the master of metabolism and detox. The kidneys are your expert filtration system, cleaning your blood 24/7. And the pancreas is a dual threat plant, vital for both digestion and regulation. The pancreas is just the perfect example of multitasking. It wears two totally different hats. On one hand, as an exocrine gland, it's making powerful enzymes to break down your food. But on the other hand, as an endocrine gland, it's making critical hormones like insulin and releasing them right into your blood to manage sugar levels. Two jobs, one organ.
And if you think the pancreas is busy, the liver is the ultimate multitasker. It's a true chemical powerhouse. It handles the metabolism of nutrients, it detoxifies your blood, it produces the bile you need for digestion, and it even acts as a warehouse, storing energy and vitamins. What an absolute workhorse.
So when you put it all together, from the CEO in your skull to the power plants in your chest and the chemical factories in your gut, all these departments are working together in perfect sync. They form this silent, self-regulating, and truly incredible cooperative that we call the human body.
I mean, every single component, from a tiny nerve cell to the whole circulatory system, is a masterpiece of engineering. So as you go about your day, just think about this. What part of your own inner universe just completely amazes you? Thanks for joining me for this explainer.